I've been so keen to obtain one of Farah's watches for many years now, and I finally did it. The last few months have hurt my wallet with both the Unimatic, which I covered recently, and this Farah landing in my watch box. But, as I keep telling my wife, how else could I possibly tell the time? Farah takes a lot of chances with their offering. Incredibly bold colors, often all at once in the same watch. Some are, to my eyes, incredibly successful, but I do wonder sometimes if there's a market out there for some of the more interesting options. But then I see the Chronosport Bernina all in red, and once again I'm gobsmacked by the courage to do something so fun. Anyway, profitability for Farah is none of my business, and as you can see here, I chose the Endeavour Titanium Series 2 in a conservative black rather than the full Lume white dial version or the in-your-face red. But you still can't call me boring, since regardless of the slightly dialed back color option, this is full of tiny but fun details everywhere. I hesitated for so long here. I don't love cushion cases, and this is the first I bought with my own money. I think 41 is just on the cusp of what I enjoy wearing, and aesthetically I find long lugs pleasant to the eye, which this doesn't have. It's also extremely difficult to figure out how this would wear with almost no reviews on the web and even less video, so if you're in the same dilemma, I'll do my best to help. I also got the optional titanium bracelet, which I have some things to say about. It's equal parts essential and equal parts ridiculous, so stay tuned for that section. There are chapter markers throughout, so feel free to jump to your favorite parts. So let's go for a deep dive into the Farah Endeavour Titanium Series 2 Aqua Compressor. Now this is an interesting shape, and as with many other recent watches, it's a difficult one to nail down before it's on your wrist. Somehow it just works with this crazy shape. But I can tell you right now, I was very nervous taking delivery of this, despite the free returns on offer from the company. Straight across, I measured at 41.4mm and lug to lug at 46.7mm. Including the domed sapphire crystal, it's an exemplary thickness of 12.7mm, and the lug width is 20mm, which we'll come to realize means nothing at all, since you won't be using any of your straps. More on this later. On the titanium bracelet, it weighs in at 110 gram, and the water resistance is 300 meters. Now let's get stuck into this interesting dial. The only number we have other than on the internal bezel is a large 12 at the 12 position. Other than that, it's all applied indices around the dial, and they can take a close-up, being very good quality and extremely legible regardless of the light. In fact, they catch the light incredibly well on all angles, and the Lume is no joke here, which I'll come back to. Farah do make a big song and dance about the abyss black shade used, and it is definitely a very deep black that absorbs light in seemingly all situations. The Farah Universal logo printed at just under the 12 is crisp and clear, and again holds up to close-ups no problem, as do the automatic and 300 meters at the 6, and as you can see, there's no date complication to complicate the symmetry, which is just the way I like it. Also quite handy if you've not worn it for a little while, where setting it is a 5-second job. The hands are a fairly standard affair, but again with plenty of greenish lume, making them seemingly glow even when outside, and it is an interesting effect. The only detail that's actually colored green in earnest being the mint green seconds tip, which is also the same shape as the logo, almost disappear or at least blend in with the indices and hands. This is not a bad thing, but the green is not as contrasty as you might think. The internal bezel has clear and large numbers, and this is one internal bezel that would hold up as a genuine diver's tool. You won't have any trouble working out how long you've been submerged. I had concerns on how cohesive this dial would be in person, but to my eyes at least, it just works. Moving on to the titanium case, it's a lovely silky surface on top, and high polish on the sides. Fairer states they worked hard to make it look more like steel than titanium, but to me it still has this greyish shade that I'm such a big fan of, but the sides sure are shiny. As far as I can tell, there's no hardness coating, so this case will scratch up, but I've worn it fairly extensively with hardly any to date. This is not designed to match the super compressors of a few decades ago that increased pressure on the back case the deeper you went. No, this is as far as I can work out relating to the crown construction. The water resistance is 100 meters when unscrewed, but when screwing down the movement crown, an additional gasket means that 300 meters is achieved. The crystal has a thickness of 2.3 millimeters, so overall you could say that water pressure works hard to secure the water resistance. Purists might have a few things to say about using the words Aqua compressor, which is close to super compressor, and fair enough I suppose, but there is a distinction. What I can say is that both the crowns are an absolute delight to use. I love the signature bronze insert with the Fairer logo on both crowns, and the action to screw in and unscrew is one of the best I've ever felt of any watch ever. The upper movement crown only takes about 2.5 turns to secure. The bottom crown is also screwed down, which I love on internal bezels. And a party trick this internal bezel has is that whilst it's free flowing with no clicks as such, it is unidirectional like a standard dive bezel. It's really nice to use, and I would have no problems in the water using this crown, being so grippy and easy to screw back down. Turning the case around, thanks to another sapphire crystal, we get a good look at the Elaborate grade Sellita SW200-1 with a bespoke rotor that features a golden wave pattern. You can expect a power reserve of approximately 38 hours, and each movement has been adjusted for accuracy in 3 positions. The Elaborate version of this movement is regulated between ±7 seconds per day up to ±20 seconds per day. Fairest movement guarantee is 5 years, which is great to see. Now this titanium bracelet and the rubber strap are both quick release, which is great. I find it quite attractive with its flat screw-in links all brushed apart from the polished sides, and screws makes it easy to adjust yourself. The fold-over clam clasp is signed, and whilst I don't love a friction locking mechanism rather than a more elegant push release, it's fine. However, they are absolutely custom made for this case, which is also of course great, but a normal strap looks ridiculous with a massive gap against the big slab. So if you want to change straps, you better buy them from Fairer, in other words. For the record, my bracelet here suits me perfectly, but there is not a single micro adjust in this buckle, and on-the-fly adjustments is limited to a diver's extension, which is too long for that and would only work on a wetsuit, which is obviously the whole point of it. The clasp aperture is also fairly short, so getting this watch on and off your wrist is right on the limit for me anyway. There are half links here, which is how I got a good fit, but man, for $265 I certainly expect a bit more than this. The included rubber strap is excellent quality, with a thick buckle, textured all over and signed underneath. It's very good, but could do with some more grooves underneath since it gets a bit sweaty, and in the water I would like to see a solution that allows more water to escape. This will be less of a problem as the pressure increases, but so far on land I'm not enjoying wearing this in warm weather. The mint green and X1 pure white Lume is brilliant. Let's check it out. As I've stated, I was very unsure on how this will work out for me. $1,195 plus import tax on the border, and another $265 for the bracelet is no small investment, but of course in the watch world it's not unreasonable. The titanium case, the water resistance, the excellent crowns and upgraded movement, great lume, and all the fun and unique features and extras I feel are worth the money. Throw in a 5-year warranty, 30-day returns and free shipping with DHL, and I feel reasonably well looked after here. The main problem really is this. Some of Ferris designs are really out there and I can't try them on, and likely neither can you. So you'll have to buy at full price, pay the import tax, try it on and then return it with all the hassle of that whole process. It is a problem, and Ferris would argue that if they were in the shops you'd pay higher prices. Also, selling secondhand will have you losing a fair amount, much like all microbrands, which is also annoying. I will say this though, I love the watch and so far I have no intention to move it on. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments today, and I'll catch you next time.